Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course, and we are pleased to be joined by Chad Kendrick, the crew chief of Timothy Peters and the number 25 Rackley War Team in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. How's it going?
It's going good, man. We're just busy getting the Darlington truck ready. We're about there, but yeah, just staying busy. This time of year, it just keeps ramping up.
Yeah. So I know that you guys are running a really cool throwback scheme. I'm throwing it back to the Bobby Hamilton Square D scheme from a few years ago. I know that you have connections with that team. You worked on that truck. You worked for Bobby Hamilton Racing back in the day. What was it like to do this throwback?
Well, one, it made me feel old. Not that I'm not getting old, but I guess I never thought about doing a throwback that I would have actually kind of worked on. When I got to Bobby's at the end of 04, and there was still a lot of Square D paint schemes, Square D trucks sitting there. And the truck he actually won the Darlington race with was still there, that chassis. So, I mean, technically I was not there when he won Darlington, but I was there to participate in actually physically turning wrenches on some of the trucks that had the Square D and we had a truck that sat in the front lobby, the Square D truck. And so, I guess one, it makes me feel a little old to know that I'm working on something that I kind of worked on, and it's called a throwback.
Yeah.
So that was one. Two, it meant a lot sentimentally. Like it brought up a lot of memories of Bobby. Bobby was a huge part of my life. I grew up racing, with my dad, my brother, and knew a lot about racing. But when I got to Bobby's, I tell everybody he probably taught me 80% of what I know today. He was a really hands-on owner. He was a hands-on guy, and he actually, I would say he loved, if you wanted to learn, he loved teaching. He loved, telling, passing on his knowledge he's learned over the 50 years, he had been around, and or 40 some years. And he loved that. He loved hanging out in the shop, and it was like a family. It really, truly, I know a lot of teams say that. I've been with teams that have said that, but that team was truly a family connection there.
Yeah. Has anyone from, when you worked at Bobby Hamilton, or did Bobby Jr. reach out to you or anybody like that?
We reached out to them. We reached out to Lori Hamilton, and she had talked to Bobby. So we kind of reached out to them and expressed and let them know, hey, we would love to do this scheme if you guys would, want us to do it. And they were very much obliged to letting us do it. And me and Lori actually talked on the phone. Lori worked there for years, and she we started talking old memory stuff and talking about it. But yeah, so we reached out to them and kind of got their blessing, and they gave it, and then we moved forward and felt really good.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw the scheme, it's like, this is literally exactly like when he ran it. It's I mean, it looked really cool. I mean, when you look at some of the schemes that have been put out there this year, they have the truck series especially, and the Xfinity series, they've hit it out of the park this year with these throwback schemes.
Yeah, I guess the decal business is and all the technologies allowed people to really get really artistic with it. Like, thank goodness for Curtis and Rackley Roofing for letting us do this too, and kind of changing his logo of sort to make it look and fit. And it really does, to still be Rackley on the truck, but have the big square on the hood and the way it is on the quarter panels and the blue and yellow, it really matches really good. And it looks really good. It's a good look for Rackley. So it turned out really nice. And you're right. And it's cool to do a throwback that was a truck in a truck that won Darlington, and actually a truck that was on the track that people, if you're a true truck fan and you've been around for years, you're going to recognize it immediately. You know, it sticks out.
Yeah. So I know that this is a brand new team this year. You know, of course, Timothy Peters came on. Of course, you know, I know you two have had a history together. What's it been like to, how do you guys think you're doing so far in, you know, the first few races with this new team?
We're not doing nearly what we would hope for. We're not doing nearly what we thought we would be doing at this time, but we've had our struggles, some new team struggles, some just struggles getting back going. You know, Timothy, he did run a race last year, but you know, as far as a full-time driver, he hasn't been a full-time driver in over 3 years. And so he's getting back in the swing of things. And man, the truck series has changed so much. It's really competitive. Not that it never was, but I've been a part of it or been in it or involved in it since I guess the end of 04. And back then it was really competitive. I mean, you had Bodine and Hornaday and Bobby and Spencer and Timothy, and you know, he's been around since then. You had Darnell, you had, I don't know, you had a lot of really good drivers, and the fields were 36. Well, now the field's 40, and you still have a lot of young talent. I would say there's a legit 36 to 38 trucks, the actual truck chassis showing up, that the chassis is probably capable of winning the race. I'm not saying all the drivers are yet, but they're talented drivers, but the equipment showing up is just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So to further answer your question, yeah, we have not met goals that we kind of set for ourselves, and we haven't, we're not where we need to be. And we're working really hard to get there. And last weekend, the end result didn't show it, but it was a step forward. The middle part of the race, we were running that green flag stop. We were running about 15th, and if it would have just went green, we were going to finish probably 14th, 15th. And with some late cautions there, we ended up with a flat tire, a right front go down, and ended up 21st again. So, but we had speed in the middle part of the race. That was encouraging, and we're going to take that to Darlington and hope improve on that. Right now, our goals are we feel like we should be running near the top 10. You know, we're realistic. We know we're a new team and know we have a lot of hurdles to cross, but that's our goal, and we're gonna get there somehow, some way. We're gonna get there and start knocking on the door of those top 10s, and hopefully knock a top 5 down before the end of this year. And that's where we're at right now.
Okay, going into this weekend at Darlington, of course, you know, Darlington's one of the most, it's a really, really tough track to go to. I know Timothy hasn't been to Darlington in a while. So what's it going to be like to go there?
I'm hoping his past knowledge helps carry him through the front of this race. And in most of these races, you know, that first stage is kind of, if you want to say it's for us, it's been practice. You know, the first stage, we try to figure out what we need for the rest of the race to try to get better the rest of the race. So I'm going to be relying on Timothy's past knowledge. He's ran good at Darlington before, really well at Darlington. He likes the track. So I'm going to rely on his past knowledge and his past experience to maybe by the end of that first stage, help us make the right adjustments to set us up for the end of the race.
All right. All right. Chad Kendrick, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the throwback scheme this weekend. Good luck to you and the Rackley Ward team in Darlington.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.